folks, thanks for checking in. Thanks for the follows. No one's being shamed for not following, because this channel hasn't been streaming before, so... poor Steph. Poor cat sheeple. Last stream in 2013. Twitch told me that there was no previous stream, so this should technically be the first. So, yeah. Thanks for trying out my alerts and all that stuffs. Hi folks. Okay, so, let me check that activity feed. Yeah, not sure if Megara Mothra is here. Thanks for the follow earlier. And Marsh and Sad Boy and Lepinchen and Les and Catcheeple and JD and yes, Ilya. You also just followed a moment ago. But yeah, no worries. No one else did. So this already pushed me over 10 followers, and we're having about 8 viewers in here, and nothing has even happened yet. Yeah, creating that thing is possibly what happened there. Yeah, we can turn the music down a bit. That's a good call. Let's see. Out here. That might work a bit better. So. Yeah, you've already seen that there's a bit going on my screen. It's all DIY. It's not the prettiest, but it's what I was able to get on hand. And I'm seeing a lot of people already have their pronouns in chat, which is great. For those who are not aware, let me get that out. There is a pronouns command to remind people or bring people to the service. All pronouns should show up on my chat widget, and if you're installing the browser extension from the page that's linked in my automatons message, you can also see those in any Twitch chat. And you can set your own up to 2 sets of pronouns, and yeah, maybe just simplifies things for everyone here. Yeah, for the PNG model, Marsh has the artist tag for a reason. All props for this model go to Marsh. I came to him with 2 prompts, maybe an idea, and everything else was arduous getting answers out of a customer who doesn't know what they want. So thanks for sticking with me here, Marsh, and delivering great work as always. Speaking of artist credits, at the bottom at the bottom of the page, meaning below the player, meaning in my profile, there's a credits section where you can find links to any art and assets used, including my little music player here, that should tell you what we're listening to. I'm getting all my music via Panda Beats. Let me also put that in the chat. Panda Beats is just a supplier and a publisher of music that is decidedly stream safe. And yeah, notes down the used commands. Catcheeple, I have pro tip for you. How about you try out the commands command? I'm for the most part using Firebot. Seribot should also be in chat and should have deactivated the safe mode when I started streaming, and should put it back on when I'm going offline. But for some reason that did not happen. So we're gonna have to see if Seribot joins us later or not. Maybe it's just asleep. Might be some technical difficulty. Meaning, dear mods, if you can keep an eye out for spam bots, that'd be great. because that is the one thing I'm relying on Seribot to do, because I know Seribot does a very good job of that. Firebot is running on my local machine and only running while I'm streaming, and yeah, powers pretty much everything else here. Locked and loaded, very good, very good. Yeah, Firebot is taking care of the clock at the bottom, taking care of the window at the top. What it's not taking care of, the window title at the top, the currently test window. What it has not taken care of, and what I forgot, was to set the proper category. So, what's the first stream without scuff? Okay, just doing some settings here, updating my stream info. Yeah, there needs to be scuff. And yeah, I just updated my category, and Firebot went and listened to that event and updated the window title. So all these little playthings that are playing in on the site, all that is fully custom Firebot. I'm really happy with this program, even though it's a lot of work to set up in the start, I have to tell you that. But yeah, and anyone who's into tinkering with their tech, yeah, maybe give it a look sometime, if you're streaming, that is. I think it has some integrations with other services, including support for Discord webhooks, but yeah, nothing much yet. Yes, Firebot by default also comes with a quote command, where moderators will be able to submit quotes from the stream to a database that's managed by Firebot. And yeah, with the quote command, everyone can then get a randomized quote, possibly mostly from me, assuming I'm gonna say anything funny or interesting. Not sure whether or not that's gonna happen, but the option is there to immortalize that. You can certainly try, but if you're relying on the help of Seri, I can't guarantee it works, and I can't guarantee that he won't retaliate. So, infighting among mods has to be resolved by mods as well. Yeah, seems Seri is EP. I might just look into that actually. Just to be on the safe side, see if I did anything wrong, but was it like that? Okay, that's possibly the wrong spelling. Ah, yeah, I'm getting an ad. That's great, but it's the right channel. Let me tell Seribot to join again, and maybe he'll wake up. Okay, Seri's telling me we're set up, so maybe that fixes it. Yeah, what else is in the functionality that you need to know about before we get started with game content? Let me check my commands. We talked about the quotes. There's a spam rate protection that mods can trigger if I got my hands full with any other content. The commands list is available to everyone. And there's also a balance command. Balance being about your monetary balance. Since I am not Twitch affiliated and actually not going for Twitch affiliate, I just want to do this on the side for the funds from time to time to show off some quirky, odd or old game that more people need to know about, in my humble opinion. More or less humble, sometimes entitled. We have no channel points because I'm not affiliated, but we have arcade tokens that you are collecting passively by being here at the same rate that you would collect channel points. You can check your balance, and yes, arcade. Arcade tokens were the first thing that came to mind. That's not coins or euro dollars, though eddies would be cool. And yeah, there's not much you can do with those yet. There is a text-to-speech command, which will cost you the usual 500 tokens. Other channels did that with 500 points, so I think that's a good starting point. And yeah, that's gonna give you some fun. Everything that's operated by Firebot is done so through the automaton account, or Otto for short, with the he/him. And I thought it was he/it pronouns. Maybe I need to update that. But yeah, Otto. I don't have an avatar for Otto yet on screen. Not sure where I'm gonna put that. If I'm gonna move things around in my overlay, though. As Otto just said to get Sheeple's question, it's all DIY and GIMP and determination and yeah, biting through things that I make more complicated for myself because I wanted to in the first place and only later realized, oh, that's actually work. Benjamin kann gerne kommen, soll tröten. For those outside of the German-speaking regions, Benjamin Blümchen, or Benjamin Little Flower, is a child's cartoon featuring a talking elephant, and Otto is a young boy who's his best friend. Maybe look into it. It was fun when I was a child. I don't know if it's still fun, but some of us have some fun memories, I think. Yeah, keep hydrated, folks. Otto should tell us every half hour as well. What else do we have? We talked about the text-to-speech, about the arcade tokens. I mentioned pronouns. There's also a lurk command. We tried out the credits command. And yeah, everything else is just technical stuffs in the background for me. Okay, with that, I think we can get ready to do some gaming. Though, as this is a very nerdy retro-themed overlay and stream, as you might have recognized, it's gonna be an interesting one. Especially, okay, that's sources active. You're gonna have to see. We're gonna do some code, and it's not gonna be for everyone. Ah, Seri joined us. The game is gonna include some coding. You're gonna see in a minute what exactly that entails, and that might not be for everyone. But not everyone needs to know how to code. Everyone should know their way around their devices, but yeah, taking that a bit more into the depths with this. So let's see who can and wants to follow along. It's the Lua scripting language, so if anyone has coded in that before, it's been popular with World of Warcraft macros in the time, I've been told. Yeah. It's compatible with the Godot engine, in which the upcoming game Replicube is coded or developed. And yes, the randomizer community uses it. It turns up in pretty much any corner somewhere around gaming. So let's see where we get that. I'm gonna pause my music and load up the game. coming with a boot sequence, which is why I haven't started it yet. And volume should be fine, but I thought the same about music, so let's see how true that is gonna be. Launching. Having boot sounds on a machine is so retro and nostalgic. Yes, we're having blocks. We're not having Minecraft, but we have blocks. And that's what we're going to be working with. My Mac sometimes eats something at the end. Okay. Let's see. And the game is a bit over. Let me correct that. Actually, in-game is a bit loud for me as well for some reason. So, taking down the music volume. Okay, we also have a mechanical keyboard in this game. So, if you hear me typing, that is actually on purpose. I'm going with the default red key sound. Because I like that. Let me press down a key and raise it. Do one motion. So this is the typing you're gonna hear throughout the stream. I like it very much. If you don't, I'm mildly sorry. Good typing sounds. Yeah, I think so too. We can turn those down if need be. But yeah, interface noise. We can turn that down a bit as well. Yeah, it seems fine. Alright, let's see what the intro has given us here. Replicube is about generating 3D objects made out of little tiny cubes. The object area is divided into a grid of these cubes, which are called voxels. Voxel can either be empty or filled in with a color from the palette. So we're having 16 different colors that are identified by name or number. To create objects, you will write code to decide the value for each voxel. And welcome in Photon, thanks for the follow. Yeah, just a bit, we just opened up the game. Perhaps the simplest possible program simply returns a number and all of the voxels become that color. So this is the most simple case we're gonna have. But wait, if my code only returns a single number, how can I possibly make complex objects? That's a good question, dear listener. Your code is not simply run one time, actually your code is run separately for every voxel in the object area. In this example, your code is run 27 times in a 3x3x3 cube. Each voxel can be identified by its X, Y, and Z location. When your code is run, special variables. That, by the way, was the iteration reminder. So, drink up. When your code is run, special variables X, Y, and Z are preset with the location of the current voxel. So really your code is the answer to the question, what is the value of the voxel at X, Y, Z? We can read those out and use them in our decision making. Here's a slightly more complex example. You can see that the code returns different values depending on X, Y, and Z. So if, then, else if, then, else if, then, and. This is a game to learn coding. It gives you all the basics you need to get through the game. Hi, Lucy. The game developer says about the game that you do not need prior coding experience, which is true. It helps to get through it quicker, because you don't have to learn, you just have to do, but what's the fun in that? And yeah, prior coding experience, not needed. Deeper coding understanding, not needed. It's very simple. If then else for the beginning, and then just thinking around corners and problem and forming more or less machine readable sentences, let's call it that, or instructions, to see where we land. So we get the X, Y, and Z axis, and whenever we are in the middle, meaning on 0, then we return a color. And this code is run from top to bottom, and as soon as we reach a return value, the code exits for this voxel. The rest is not executed, meaning if x is 0, so anywhere on this red slice, we're returning 7, which is red. If it's y, then we're doing return 10. Let's see, that's the green, so the vertical axis being y, that's the green slice in here. But these voxels here are red already, because the code exited over here, the first return found. So that's why we're not mixing colors here and not doing the game. Can be a quick while. Okay. Let me get that a bit further down. Here, let's try that for a bit. Yeah, so the first return value is the end of the execution, and that's gonna bring us to our finished picture. And we're thrown out to the desktop, and as soon as we get a workstation, we have to check our email. I thought this was a holiday, at least over here. Customer service. Welcome to Replicube. Thank you for registering your Replicube terminal. Please find the attached tutorial projects to get you started. We get the tutorial projects, and since I'm playing the demo, this is there's a bit more. There's the tutorial and one other section that's part of the demo. If you want to go for longer, I'm gonna have to make a quick purchase later on. But for now, let's check out the very basics. So a bit of repetition from what we just learned. Your job is to write code to generate an object that manages the one in the upper right. Over here. This is our example. Your code will be run at every voxel location. Return a number to set the material for that location. Values in the range 1 to 16 are different color materials. Values of 0 or less will be empty space. Try modifying the code below to match the color in the reference. Comments in code start with 2 dashes. Try returning a different number, meaning color. So it told us that 0 or less will be empty. Now wondering what's higher than 16. This is returning 2. Okay, so it just overflows. Interesting. Takes the 16 numbers that we have, and if I return 18, it goes through those 16, and then overflows by 2, landing us in gray. Interesting. Didn't try that before. I played a bit around in this already at some point, but somehow never tried that. But yeah, here we want red, meaning let's go with a 7. And whenever I change something, it auto-runs the code, and if the object matches, we're just getting the result confirmed. Is overflow stacking a thing? So yeah, we can go through this overflow multiple times, and the engine thankfully handles that quite gracefully. I heard Wallaber or Tim, the developer of this game, struggled a bit with code injection from users into the rest of the game. So people have been breaking out of this little sandbox that the code runs in and have injected code into the rest of the game, which is not intended. There has been some fixing in the background already. Was the now supposed to be a not catchy? Also, if so, not yet. Yeah, there is, if we submit this, a in-game network called the CubeNet, where we could upload our high scores, meaning the lowest code size or the lowest average cycles per voxel. Okay, no speedrun for that game yet. Yeah, that makes sense. Would probably be somewhere around typing speed or copy pasting in the worst case. But yeah, the measurement of the highest quality code here is how fast it's running or how little code you need. Optimizing for one often worsens the other score, so it's two different scoreboards if you like to look at it like that. But yeah, there is an in-game forum and sharing platform that just has been developed for this game and includes high scores that I have not signed into as of yet. We can continue editing, so we get a better score, or go back to the project manager to go to the next problem. Let's see, we want to do a 2-part cube with different colors, and we have some default code and our first decision. So I turn this around to see a bit better. Everything that is greater or has a greater y value than 0. Good morning, Ash. Everything that has a... Thank you for the follow. Everything with a greater than 0 value on y should be one color. So let's move our line. If y is greater than 0. Yep, that looks better. Return 1 or 11. Let's see. We want the 12. That's the dark blue, which, by the way, we can also type out by name. Or we want this, I think it's the orange. I have a bit trouble with the color naming, but in the end, I'm gonna find it. I can just mouse over and find the value and we're fine. Marsh, why are you flipping people? Is that cute aggression or just happy to see them or? Okay, simple quadrant. We just want part of the cube to be filled. What part do we want filled? We want the positive z and y and x. Conditions can be combined. Use keywords like and or. Okay, how do we go about this? Currently we have x and y equals 0. That's very unhelpful. Let's see, we want y to be greater than 0, and we want x to be greater than 0. And we also want, copy pasting around here, z to be z or z. Which one are you using? British or American English? And which one was which? Okay, I think we got the correct voxels active, and now we're just returning the correct color, being the number 5 in pink. Pink little cube off center of the bigger cube. Let's see what's up next. 3x3 grid. Oh, anyone want to play tic-tac-toe? Okay, okay. As you also saw in the earlier part, when no return value is given, it is assumed 0 and the voxel stays empty. We can explicitly bring those to... Oh, sorry. We can set those to 0 to make them empty actively, or we can just assume them empty. This is a bit hard to see with white on a white background, not gonna lie. Yeah, web page design days. I've done a bit of web development, not much, and it's tedious to find the right distances and sizes in that. It's hard. So we have ABS, absolute, can be used to return the absolute value of a number. Absolute value is the positive size of a number. Absolute value of -5 is 5. It is very useful for simplifying making objects with symmetry. Want to see the height of my web design so far? Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere and there's no real crash, but I have this. And it has an animated little spinner done with JavaScript. It took me forever, far too long. Yeah, I have a little BRB screen that is technically actually a website. Well, it's a local HTML file that OBS is rendering for me. There's no web server or something, but I have this. Maybe we'll need it later. Maybe we're fine. But it spins. Is it really coded if it's not spaghetti code? Yes, the towel was important, thanks for noticing. Spaghetti code, I'm not sure where the line is. I may have written some in the past. I'm trying to be clean about my stuff. Especially for work, because other people are seeing that. Okay, but let's do some symmetry work here. We want voxels on absolute values of 2 of the y and x axes. So that should be 2. Or y. Okay, we got that grid out. Don't worry. We're gonna still be here, I think. Alright, and we want z to be either plus or -1 or 0. So we could go with the absolute value being smaller than 2. Or what we can do as well, since we're not restricted to just one, we can do multiple if statements. Let me close that out so I don't forget. If let's see, the lower one is -2. We want to be bigger than that with z. That gives us I'm going to the wrong direction here. Yeah, we want to be greater than, so we need to point it into the other direction. But we also need a cutoff point, so this should also be smaller than +2. But Lua doesn't let me do that. That's rude. And we're doing that in few conditions and combining them with an AND. Alright, we're ready to play tic-tac-toe. Let's submit that. And check out next. Simple sushi. Anyone hungry? Too bad we don't have a darker green. The nori doesn't look all that healthy. Welcome back. Time to make some sushi. We have a smaller cube. It's filled fully all the way through. Okay, so this is the only side that's interesting to us. Let's see. Sushi. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's see. We need some absolute values. So if the absolute value of, let's see, x equals, let's go with 2. And we have to do that in 2 directions. Or that the same condition for y. Then turn something. And let's run that. And we have our outer shell. Just needs to be the right color. Okay, what we can do now is just have another if block with different things. So if this is false, then we're ending this block and going to the next. There is probably a point to be made between having separate blocks and going through an else if, which combines the two and does the same in the end. In this case, we're already returning a value as soon as we have one of these conditions fulfilled, and the program or the code execution just ends for that specific voxel as soon as we return something. If we had something else than return values here, we were setting variables or anything, and the code execution continues and goes into the next if block, then we have another execution. If the conditions are mutually exclusive and just one of the if cases can be true, there's no use in executing the rest. So using else if tells the interpreter, in case of non-compiled languages, to throw some more funny words out there. It's just code optimization or execution optimization. If we don't need the next block to execute after this one has succeeded, then let's just tell the machine that. Okay, but now we want the rise, so that will be a 1, and the absolute value should be 1 as well. Okay, now we just need some filling. Yeah, we don't need absolute values for comparison with 0, so I'm taking those out. It's one less step within the code. And this should probably be red. There we go. Here we have 11.36 cycles per voxel. If I were to, let's see, keep that absolute. Just curious to see how that'll work. Getting the 0 back in. It still works, but we have 11.48, so it takes a bit longer to get the absolute value of a voxel than to not get the absolute value of a voxel. Makes sense. So getting the comment reactivated here, and go back down to 11.3. Minor code optimizations. We're taking out the last few CPU cycles here. Almost done with the just 2 more tutorial levels. Let's see. Don't forget you can put conditions inside other conditions. Heard you like conditions, so we put conditions into your conditions. Thanks, though. Okay, we have 2 slices horizontally, and those are then again sliced in different directions. And we have some code already there. The condition in your bathroom does something else. I'm pretty sure there's a difference there. Maybe ask your beauty specialist about it. Okay, let's see. We have our cutoff for the upper and lower slice at +1 y. So we go y higher than 0. If we are above, then we have the x split at there we go, greater than 0. And the lower section is divided. Let me get the block copied so I have less to press. We are dividing that by by the Z coordinate, which has to be yeah, also higher than 1, so we have the same cutoff point. Okay, let's see, we have this section should be orange, this one should be dark green, this is the white one that is red, and that should be our blue section. Let's see, is it 12 or 13? The light one. There we go. Yeah, finding the right color without doing the mouse over. Sometimes a gamble for me. And a basic cup. Let's see. Using a 3D view, look around, click and drag one left mouse button. Oops. Zoom in and out, mouse wheel, or click and drag right mouse button. Okay, we can zoom in and out. Remember, return 0 or empty to make empty space. We can do that. So the suggested solution, or path to the solution here, is creating empty space and returning something in any other case. Let's see, we have a closed bottom and one voxel white outline, and everything else is just empty. And our color is going to be 15, let me set that already. Okay, our bottom row is at y-3. So I'm gonna set that over here, -3, and we'll just exit it out with 15 and be done with it. If we are higher than that, then we need some conditions. Yeah, let's do both. I'm gonna first make an outline and then we're gonna make the empty solution, just to see which one is faster in execution. I'm curious about that. Let me get another conditional block. So if the absolute value x is greater than 2 or equal 3, same thing in this case, or one space to the right, please. Or we're testing out the same with Z. There we go, we're getting the outline solution. Unmatched and keyword. Yeah, okay. Thanks for the syntax. Let's try the opposite way. Instead of defining the filled voxels, let's define the unfilled voxels and see what that lets us. Okay, so if our absolute value x is less than 3, or the absolute z coordinate is less than 3, a little hard there, then return 0. And if that's not the case, we'll get that from here. Okay, we need something more complex then. Or is it just it's just the wrong combination that needs an AND in that case? Okay, let's see. We taken care of the bottom and then hollowing out the rest. We could probably even combine that, but that would mean that gets done multiple times. Yeah. Okay, but we have 9.87 voxels versus, just out of curiosity, taking that out. 944. Okay, so we are a bit faster if we're just setting the machine. Okay, do that here, and if not, don't worry about me. At least in this case. Goes more bird, a little more bird, a little faster. Let's get back to the project manager, and yeah, the tutorial is done, and we get a mail. Just like in real life. The moment you're done with something, there's always something more. Alice from Retrotech. Hello, fellow Voxel enthusiasts. Hi, nice seeing you at the Retrotech event. Nice to meet someone who is interested in obscure voxel-based coding terminals like me. You mentioned that you just finished the Replicube tutorial project. How was that? Your answer will affect the difficulty of the remaining puzzles for the demo. They were pretty tricky. They weren't too difficult for me, or they were a breeze. Anyone want to weigh in? I think when I first tried this out, I just said they were a breeze and got the hard puzzles. So yeah, which difficulty setting would you want to see, chat? What's most interesting to you? Seeing the bun show off, or maybe getting to follow along the actual code a bit more closely, if anyone is still trying to follow the code and not just looking at the pretty picture, which I can't blame you. The spinning voxels are nice. We have a show-off request. Okay. So, they were a breeze. Let's see what Alice has to say about that. Sounds like you enjoy a challenge. Here are a few more puzzles to try out. Multi-flower. What do we have here? Oh, okay. Okay, you can use tilde equals to check if a value is not equal to another value. So previously we did higher than, lower than, equal to. Now we have not equal to. And we are also introduced to variables. That's good. That's good. Yeah, so we can take the values that we are given and define new variables and use those later. It does look weird, doesn't it? Stay hydrated, folks. The thing is, we get some gaps in here and some weird colors, and they're not circles, more diamond shapes, and it just looks intimidating or tedious if you want to go about that, because we could just either write code for every single voxel, but that's very much too tedious. But we could write something that returns 12 for the outer corners, and then something that returns 11 for these outer ones. But this is already a great hint over here, and we have something similar happening already. So let's see. If y is not 0, then y is not all that interesting to us here. We want to have z to be a thing. And the absolute value of that should be smaller than 2. Okay, we can return 0, or we can Just do nothing. Let's return 0. So we have that cut out already. So now we are a lot closer here. And let's see. We now also have to decide between our color value and an empty space. And that calculation already gives us the correct colors. So the center here is x and y equals 0. So we have the absolute values of those still being 0 plus 6. So we get 6, get purple, which is our purple center. And yeah, raising those values to the outside just gives us higher numbers. So we start with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The further we go to the outside, we get another color. So we're not taking a position and telling it what color it has to be. We are calculating the color from the position, which is an interesting concept. The offset can just be played around with, so we can get different colors here. Just shove those to the outside. Pretty high actually. Just gonna turn around again. And yeah, sticking with the 6 it was. Gets us the color spread that we are looking for. But we don't want the part that's currently yellow, yellow being 9. So we just want to do that if it's not 9. Yes. So let me get another if block. And this time we're not looking at x, y, or z, we're looking at our variable that's called v, is variable. Yeah, zoning out to coding is pretty great. This is a coding game that I'm playing here, and Twitch is a lot of gaming content, but zoning out to coding is a thing. There are coding streamers that develop sometimes open source or their own projects or something, and just have their keyboard sounds, occasional commentary, and their code on screen. And I know people that listen to that on the side while working. It's an interesting crowd. Let me get that still equals. Soothe, yeah. Soothe or smooth? Both. One, no. There we go. We cut out the yellow part. If it has some cursing, it's just like an office. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Highly dependent on the office. Gotta say that. There's some offices that frown on cursing, some that are fine with it, and some that encourage it as long as there's no customer listening. So before cursing out loud in the open space office, maybe check if anyone's on the phone. We get into real world objects. Real world being if basketball was being played in Minecraft. Anyone up for some hoops? Okay, let's get some empty space out of the way first, because currently we just have a big white cube and good luck. Thanks, game. Yeah, Blender is more hands-on, called organic modeling. This is closer to CAD, which is computer arithmetic design, or computed arithmetic design. The developer also said shader coding, but disguised as game. So yeah, creating voxels in a 3D pixel game is pretty close to shader programming. So anyone wants to do the next most popular Minecraft shader pack, maybe go for this to get you started. I was gonna take out some white space. Let's see. I'm gonna return one at the end just to see where I wasn't yet. Let me get the outer parts on the z-axis out of the way. So if the absolute value of z equals 4, then we're just going with 0 and that out. And here we go. Let's get into the backboard. That's gonna start with z equaling to 3 minus 3. Yeah, it's actually a great way to get started. Just to get some routine, some thought into, okay, I want my code to do this, so let's see, what conditions do I have? I have this if then else, I have some more complex parts and a simple outcome. So this is just overall a great start to get anything out. Okay, the backboard does not go lower than -3, so and y greater than -4. Okay. And we don't want to return 0, we're gonna go with 2 for most of the board. That seems fine, but we also have a white circle here. So let me put another if in there. If then else. Take that over there and get some white voxels. Okay, what do we have? We have a square, and we previously did squares with the absolute function. So let's start with that as well. Or again, absolute of let's go with x. Absolute of x should be equal to. We have 2 straight lines, and the absolute of y, just to give it the same size, let's do 2. That's just the outside, and that is a grid, so we're gonna go with I'm gonna test them separately, I think. Just focusing on x for now. If the absolute of x is 2, let me get that executed real quick so we have a visual, and we're not going higher or lower than okay. And the absolute of y is below 3. Let's see. I said below. Thanks. Alright, don't burn down the kitchen. See you in a bit. Okay, we have the absolute of y less than 3 to give us the outlines that are 1 voxel too low. We want it to be pushed up 1. And we can actually just do that by manipulating what we are taking the absolute value of. This is a bit of magic or math or arithmetic that I can't explain in depth, but yeah, we discussed the absolute function, and taking an absolute value of this brings us symmetry around the y, and if we shift that around, it shifts around the symmetry, and going one down shifts the square that results of it up, which seems a bit counterintuitive, but it works. Let's see, we get an else if. And else. And another white line. Let's start by flipping those around to get this and this. Get that out. Okay, we have our two horizontal lines, and we are again shifting it on the y-axis to shift those horizontals up. Okay, let's return to yeah, unless we are at y minus 4. So oh yeah, that is because we're doing this in the end, so this is just my filler. What color do we not have? We don't have any green in here. Let me do that as a placeholder. But yeah, we defined some white space in our first block. The second block takes care of the backboard. Okay, let's cut out the empty space above the hoop, so everything that's higher than y equals minus 4. Higher than minus 2, okay. Absolute z is equals 4. Oh, we can't cut it all off. It has to be within that. Otherwise we're cutting off the board. So let's see, I'm getting something similar in this actually. Let me copy that line. So the absolute value of z brings should be if they it's off center. Not bad, okay. So if that would have been on center, that would be smaller than 4. Just getting the rest out of the way for now. 0. Okay, so that is everything. That's a bit much. So getting back our other part of the conditional. What did I say? Y should be this time greater than minus 2. Now we're getting there. Actually, we can just get rid of the whole z part, because everything else is already handled. We're not cutting off anything more, because that part of the board is already handled up here, and we're exiting the code execution there, so it's fine. Okay, so that's a bit of white space. Let's handle the hoop. Reuse that. So the hoop is exclusively at y minus 2. Let's get the right color. There we go. And look at it from above. We are between x absolute 3. So x should be smaller than 3. In that case, do that. Okay. So we got that part handled. We want these cut out. So if z equals -2, then we have some special case. Otherwise, we're continuing with the execution. If it's -2 and x, let's get that one here, smaller than 2, and return 0. Greater than 1. Okay, we're going from the other side because I'm subtracting before I was filling. Yeah, gotta pay attention to my own code here. Who could have thunk of that? Okay, we want another cutout. It revolve around these two as well. But this time we are doing the absolute again. Calling the absolute function, we're not doing the absolute. Here, BG3 players, this has nothing to do with that. Okay, if the absolute value of z is smaller than 2 and the absolute of x is also smaller than 2, then we get the cutout, but we want to push it over to the positive z, so we are pushing that over 1 here, and there we go, we got our hoop. That's not too bad, So we have just a little bit left, just the net. And I'm gonna stop using my placeholder at the end to fill the unhandled space with green. So we're now just gonna do the part that we are actually handling. Which way do I slice this? Because we have two different or alternating patterns of voxels. So I'm gonna do them per a Y slice. Let's see. Taking this thing. So if we are at -3, we have to handle some things. That return 1. Okay, we got the correct slice. How to go about it? I'm not gonna get too fancy here. This thing's complex enough, so just simple approaches. Let's see if z is either -1 or +1 or 3. Let me get up the documentation or the code. So we have some in-game Lua documentation here. If condition then, okay. We can also use brackets for that. Getters of objects, we can nest the conditions, we can use names for the colors as well. And variables. We have operators. Yeah, logical and bit operations. Helpful functions, what do we have? Ceiling, step. Lua brings it all. I hope we don't need all of it, because that's gonna get complex in later levels. We can define functions. Okay. I just want simple is in. Do we have that? We can do things in line. Yeah, food is always a good idea. Please keep yourselves fed. Min, max, absolute floor, round, ceiling, step, sign, lamp, in range, mixed. Bitwise operations. Okay, but seems there's no value is in list. Okay. But we can still do something like that. Since everything at Z-3 and below is already handled, we just have to worry about what's above that. So let me take if absolute value of Z is equal to 1, then n. Okay, we got those two. We can now either take Z3 or the absolute of Z equals 3, because even though the absolute of Z would also be true for -3, that part is already handled. Calling absolute is another function call that costs processor cycles, so let's just not. Okay, we have our 3 lines here, but they're now going through all the way. Oh, we can reuse the cutoff, I think. Let's see, that was... this is the one. Yeah, I'm gonna pull that one out actually. Since this empty space is needed everywhere, I'm just gonna do that. Oop. Oh, thanks, Steam. Did not ask. I realized that I did technically ask, but I did not ask. Okay, now we don't have to handle that in the lower layers again, so that's just taken care of. We now want pretty much the same operation for x, which should be either 0 or its absolute value should be 2. Let me get that in brackets. I don't have to do multiple lines. And doing that for x, which should either be, what did I say, 2 or 0. There we go. Okay, so in that layer we are getting that part. Now to turn that stuff around a bit, get rid of the green part by now. The lowest layer here, -4. Now we need to alternate those voxels though. So x should be, the absolute value of x should be equals 1. And we don't need that part anymore. Now we only have one part, so I don't technically need the brackets, but I don't think they cost any processing power. And we have the same for z -1 at least. So let's get that out and do the -1 over here. off by 1. What should it be? Should be 2? Let me get that part out. Oh, it's an and as well. In this case, we need the or. Gives us lines. How about I don't overcomplicate things and just do one part at a time. Let's go over there. It shouldn't go over there. If y minus 4. Let me get the cutoff point here as well. And z greater than -2. Now we're handling the right part of it. Yeah, no need to combine those. This is a long one. This is a long one. Taking z again, which its absolute value should be 2 or 0, so I'm taking it as 1 and moving it over. And now we have those voxels, but we're getting out of bounds with x, so let me cut that off as well. Okay, this time we need the absolute of x to be smaller than 2? No, smaller than 3, sorry. There we go. Wow, that was a longer one. And pure stream of consciousness, so if anyone was able to follow that and or think of the spoken word as soothing, I tip my hat to you, because pure stream of conscience without much thought to the sentence structure. Improbable tower sounds interesting. Oh, that one. We're stacking beams and pretend gravity doesn't exist. It's a bit like Minecraft, isn't it? Okay, how do we go about this? It's nice that they only wish us good luck and just peace out for the rest of it. Let me get the bottom layer out of the way first, because that's a solid gray layer. So if y equals -4, then we return 2. That gives us a floor to stack something upon. Let's see, we have a structure that repeats 2 times. And starting with this bottom beam that is -3 and it is repeated as +1. Let's see, we can probably handle both of those in one round. Let me get the correct color for this, which is 15 brown. Probably wooden beams. But it's not at -4, it is... let's see, let me take the absolute value of y to get some symmetry going here. What did I say? It's at -3 and +1, so taking it as the absolute is equal to 2. Up there, and we want to shift it down, so I'm adding 1. Yeah. Okay, we're on the correct layers here. For both, that should be -2. Let's see. We got that handled. and x should be no larger than 3. So, and absolute of x is less than 4. Okay, we got those beams handled. Let me just reuse that for the ones in the front as well. Copy pasting code, my favorite pastime. Someone else wrote it, it's probably gonna work. So this time we are just doing that for the z plus 2. And shifting them up by 2. Meaning... oops. Yeah, I think that looks good. I could probably write a function for this and call it 2 times to have less code. This is doing mostly the same. And I would take one variable, set it to either 1 or -1, and multiply it with this 1 and this 2. But I can also just write it 2 times. In this case, it's easier to read. As easy as this stuff can be to read. Code is documentation enough. I used to own a shirt with that written on it, and during the daily stand-up planning whatever meeting, our manager came in. We were 8 people coding in one big room all day, and every morning we had our stand-up. One day I wore that shirt to work. Manager came in, looked at my shirt, smiled at me, and thanked me for the usually pretty good documentation that I'm still writing anyway. That was a certified Hase moment at work. Okay, let's support those beams, as flimsy as the support seems to be in the end. It's gonna be a similar structure, so I'm gonna borrow that block again. But this time we are playing at y-2. And restricting it to the absolute x smaller than 4. Okay, that's... you know... what's that? Turning when I shouldn't be turning. And... ooh! Good morning. Thanks for the follow. And which part am I missing? I'm missing the first, which is the absolute y. Very big eyes you're having there. Handle those two, so I'm still missing the handling of x, which should be... where are we at? We are at -2. But this is -2 and... I'm confusing myself with altering these conditions. I'm just gonna start over with that part. So x should be equal to -2. We're in the right column. We want to handle 2 y values, so I'm gonna work with symmetry again here. And the absolute of y should be equal to, because we need 2 parts, should be equal to 2. Okay, here we have our 2 beams. They are again 2 wide, so I'm gonna take this part again, but now the Z up, down. That was much faster than trying to alter the whole thing. Sometimes better to take a step back. Okay, and again reusing that block to shift those beams over from -2 to +2. But this time not at y -2, but y 0 and 4. So we take 2 out of that, and there we go. That last part went by a bit faster. Yeah, and if we were writing code that would not return every time, but all through all those should be if else, not ending and doing another if, or else if instead of end and a new if. But yeah, not an optimization point that we need to worry about here. Let's submit that. And 2 more preview puzzles in this high tier level. Nostalgic handheld game. Oh, I remember that one. So, who of y'all had one of those back in the day? I had to borrow my cousin's. By the time my family had the money to buy one of those, it was already one generation up. It wasn't the Game Boy anymore, it was the Game Boy Color. It had colors. But the display was still dark, so you had to provide your own light. It was the time of hardware gadgets and add-ons to handheld consoles. It was a glorious time. Okay, let's carve this out of the block. So if our x value is larger, or absolute x value is larger than 4, then we do not need anything here. Let's see if getting tired. I already had my caffeine though. So why is that? If we absolute x is larger than 3, then turn 0. What? Where did I go wrong? Oh, I'm not returning anything else. That's where I went wrong. There we go. Okay, now we got the side sliced off. 2 colored Game Boy Colors with Pikachu and Pichu on it, including the charger battery pack with the magnifying glass and light combo. My sister had the magnifying glass actually. Oh, that was already for the Game Boy Advance. We didn't have any add-ons for the Game Boy Color, and we got the Advance just a few years after our Colors. Because I managed on vacation, which ruined the whole 2 weeks for me. I managed to stumble over in a doorway over the step and threw my Game Boy Color out of my hand onto the floor. Display broke irreparably. Would have needed changing out, but no one knew how to or where to get a new one, and repair shops also cost money and they're back home, and it was a whole thing. And our parents just ended up getting us the next console, which was a good upgrade. I'm not mad about it. The Game Boy Advance had the much nicer hand position actually, so I wasn't mad about it. Okay, let's round off the corner, which is... where does this happen? We could play with some round shape and just handle a quarter of it, but that's far too complicated. So let's just take another conditional. This is at y minus 5. x would be larger than 3. Shouldn't that row be vanishing? Larger than 2. 3 or higher. We don't have that here, okay. I was getting mightily confused. And if we're 1 lower, then it's already a cutoff point at 2. Okay, now we got that rounding. Let's get that sliced down. It's the most part of the shape done. So, taking the absolute of z this time, and it shouldn't be higher than 1. There we go. Cut out there. But that needs to come later in the program, because otherwise we have no space to put the buttons in. Speaking of buttons, let's place the A and B buttons, which are just plain red. Do that. Gotta handle that at one particular Z position, so let's see if Z equals the blue 2. Then let's do that button first. That would be the B button, which is at y equals -2 and x equals 3. Then we return 7 and did I go wrong? Am I doing the cutoff at the wrong point? That's 2, 3. 4 is still... yeah, I'm doing the cutoff at the wrong point. It is wider. Don't say anything. So this is actually 3 and 2. That's why I got confused earlier. Okay. Yeah, let me minify that. Nice, easy. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for stopping by. Let's get an A button for that. Over at -3 and x1. There we go. That's those two buttons handled. Let's get the D-pad out of the way as well. Yeah, let's do a cross check for that actually. So if return what's black? Black is 3. If the absolute value x plus y, let's get a bit fancy. If that is smaller than 2. It's a diagonal. Just wanted to circle. Is x plus y. X plus y is larger. Didn't want to combine the numbers, I wanted to combine the conditions. That's the mistake I'm doing here. If both absolutes are lower than 2, then we get a square, not a cross. what's a smart way to go about this without defining every voxel by itself? Absolute x on that and y equals, what's the middle here? That's -2. That position right. And now moving that part over. How far? 2 voxels. Into the other direction, thanks. Okay. That's not too bad. That's good. So we have that. Or let's see if I can get a line break in there so my lines don't get too long. Now let's flip that around for y at x. X should be at -2, that's already correct. The offset is correct already, nice. Okay, so we got face buttons. Thanks, Easy. I put mostly determination into it and just as little thought as I could manage. So glad you like it. Most good-looking things around here are done by other people, as seen down in the credits. So thanks again to Marsh for getting my model. Or making my model, rather. Okay, we still need to see something. So let's do cut out for the screen and give it a bezel. Which is happening at, where are we? Z +1. We have something symmetrical on the Y. Get that in here as well, I think. And absolute value Y is less than, how far are we going? I need 5 of those pixels. Let me get that color set. It's gray. Where are we there? Yeah, we are 5 voxels high. I need to put that up, so I need to subtract, what is it, 3? Yes. But we need only 2 lines. So let me nest that. Absolute value of x equals 3, and we get our bezel. And let's say the absolute of x is less than 3, then we need to return blank space being 0. Now we can see our screen. Now we need to create that screen. Let me borrow that code. We are shifting over to one slice back. Back and forward. Sorry. Now we don't need the part for the bezel anymore. And we don't want to create empty space. We want to create our screen with an 11. And there we go. That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Okay, one more. We have a lot of colors again. Let's see. So we need to make this... make the color dependent on the Y value. Probably the easiest way to go about it, and just hand it over. So I'm gonna return the color, which I'm gonna define as... let's see, we have the value 10 at 0. So I'm gonna take Y plus 10. We got the correct colors. That was pretty easy. Could have been much more intimidating. So we now just need to poke some holes in there. And we're good. He said. Before taking a long time to actually do that. Okay, let's see. If the absolute value of x is smaller than 2, then we return 0. Same goes for, but we also are dependent on Y. Okay, there we got the big cutout in the middle done. We also have the same for the Z view. Yeah, the view through the x-axis, so it's probably the x view. And yeah, it's also column down the middle. I'm just gonna do that 3 times and be done with it. So once for x and y, once for x and z, and once for z and y. And we have our 3 big holes. Okay. Okay. And these smaller holes we can probably get done with some more magic with absolute values. Let's see. That would be y, absolute of y, 3 or 0. Absolute of y equals 3 or 0. Then that's full slices. That's not what we're looking for yet. Okay, but we have either of those. And the same for x. That's looking good. And we now need the same thing again for all 3 axis combinations. So we have 4 X and Y, we have it for X and Z, and for Y and Z. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so getting the colors right and getting holes poked into it. Nice. Let's submit. Get back to the project manager, and all files complete. And as always, still work is finished. New emails. So, Replicube customer service. How was your evaluation? Thank you for evaluating Replicube. Here's what you can expect from the full version. More puzzles. 100 main story puzzles. Story is an interesting way to put it. Weekly puzzles. 3 new puzzles every week. Oh, I didn't know that. It's endless puzzles. Oh. Puzzle sharing in CubeNet. So here's some examples. Some lattice structure. Low poly DNA or something. Nested cubes. Keyboard. Free edit mode. Create your own Replicube creations from scratch, just for fun, to express yourself or to learn. You can even export your creations as 3D objects for use in other 3D modeling tools. That is cool. Coding something together to then later on use it in another context. That's yeah, similar to my BRB screen earlier. You just have that thought out. That's cool. And people are actually commenting their code properly, not just going top down. Okay, step and min and absolute. That's a bit high logic for me right now. Replipaint app. More applications are available in the full version, including Replipaint, coding to generate 2D images similar to Replicube. Beyond being fun of its own, you can use Replipaint to make your own desktop background and even your profile picture for CubeNet. Oh, so that's probably how this background has been created. That's interesting. Yeah, profile pictures for the built-in forum. That's cool. Social features. Expanded social features area available in CubeNet. Major among them is the ability to share your Replicube pre-edit mode creations for others to enjoy and challenge themselves to replicate, complete with leaderboards for user-created objects. So user-made levels also get their own leaderboard. That's cool. Similar forum also exists for sharing replicate projects as well. And more. Full original soundtrack, extra hidden desktop minigame, and more. So yeah, that was the demo. And I'm not used to talking that much, so I'm not gonna go for much longer. But yeah, if you're interested, we can probably look into the full game at some point and maybe submit some scores to the leaderboard. Let's see about that. Closing out my inbox. Anything else? It's just a CubeNet community. Sticky notes, settings. I think time to shut down Replicube now. We'll get us some of our own music again. And very manual process here. No hotkeys or anything, so time to wind down a bit. That was 2 hours of talking that I'm not used to. I hope you had a bit of fun. I hope you collected some arcade tokens. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for looking into what the weird nerd is doing over there. And yeah, checking out what I have prepared for you. Checking out what the web has to offer. None of my usual peeps are live at the moment, so nothing to rate out at this point in time, I think. In that case, have a nice time zone. I'm gonna eat something and have a tea. Not a nap yet. It's 6 now. It's time to go to bed. Let's see where this goes. Alright, thanks again for stopping by, and catch you soon. Bye-bye.